Hello, today's Bible study comes from the book of John, chapter 15, verses 18 through 25, and reads as follows. If the world hates you, keep in mind that it hated me first. If you belong to the world, it would love you as its own. As it is, you do not belong to the world, but I have chosen you out of the world. That is why the world hates you. Remember what I told you, a servant is not greater than his master. If they persecuted me, they will persecute you also. If they obeyed my teaching, they will obey yours also. They will treat you this way because of my name, for they do not know the one who sent me. If I had not come and spoken to them, they would not be guilty of sin. But now they have no excuse for their sin. Whoever hates me hates my Father as well. If I had not done anything, if I had not done among them the works no one else did, they would not be guilty of sin. As it is, they have seen, and yet they have hated both me and my Father. But this is to fulfill what is written in their law. They hated me without reason. Ooh, this is strong. This is strong. Jesus is talking here about how the world is going to hate his disciples. And please know that the world is enmity against the Lord. It's an enemy of the Lord, meaning that the world goes against the ways of Christ. It does not want to do the way of the Lord. It's not his kingdom right now. It's Satan's time to run around and do things. And he is doing things. And man is not turning to God like we should. So Jesus is talking to his disciples because he's leaving soon. So he starts out and he says, if the world hates you, keep in mind it's hated me first. It hated me first. Not just now, but even before then, when I was giving out instructions, when, excuse me, all these miracles were happening, when you were being blessed, when you were in the garden, you went against me. So the world hated me. So know that it's going to hate you. If you belong to the world, it would love you as its own. Jesus is telling them, if you were of the world, if you were doing the things the world is doing, it wouldn't complain about you. It would be happy with you. It would be no reason for it to be against you because you would be doing its way instead of Yahweh. As it is, you do not belong to the world. I'm going to tell you again, you don't belong to this world. But I, meaning Christ, I have chosen you out of this world, meaning I came into the world and I selected you. Even though you are in this world, I selected you to do things my way. That is why the world hates you, because you are doing things the way I would do them. You've been given these powers, you've been listening to my teaching, you've been seeing the miracles, you've been seeing the way I act and the things I do with people, and you do it my way, and the world hates that. Remember what I told you. He's telling you, I told you this. I told you this prior, so remember it. A servant is not greater than his master. Never is. If they persecuted me, the master, they will persecute you also, the servant. Don't be afraid because you're going to walk in my shoes. And I'm the master. And if you are following me, if they persecuted me in that walk, servant, they're going to persecute you in that same walk. If they obeyed my teaching, if they listened to what I said, then they will obey yours because your teaching is from me and mine was from the Father, as I told you previously. I only speak what I am told to speak. They will treat you this way because of my name, for they do not know the one who sent me. Uh-oh. They have a lack of knowledge on who sent them. But Jesus is good because he tells you right there in verse 22, They do not know who sent me, right before 22. If they don't know God as the Father and who he really is, then they will go against those who represent him. They will go against Jesus. They will go against the disciples. So Jesus is telling them this, and he's letting them know, if I had not come and spoken to them, they would not be guilty of sin. I came and acknowledged what sin is. I came and showed them how to act. Now, if I had not come and spoken to them, they wouldn't be guilty of sin. But now they have no excuse for their sin because they have seen me. There is no excuse for it. None. We know he has told us. They knew of God when Jesus came here. They may not have liked him. They may not have wanted him. They may not have wanted to accept him, but they knew of him. And if you believe or you don't believe, you still will be judged. Jesus came into the world to shed light into darkness. And that light was his life, and the gospel was the word that was spread. And he told you, no excuse. You don't have any excuse. And he tells you, but now they have no excuse for their sin. Whoever hates me hates my Father as well. If you don't love the one if you don't love the one that came before to be his representative, you're sure not gonna love the one he represents, and that's what he's telling you. If I had not done among them the works no one else did, Jesus saying, look, man, I came down here and did things you couldn't do. Walked on water, fed the thousands, brought Lazarus back, healed the demons out of the legion out of the man. The man at the pool told him to get up and take his mat and walk. I did things in front of you so you could see this. Even changing water to wine, which man says, oh, I can change water to wine. Man can, but it takes man time. Fruits got to ferment. You got to add this and that. Jesus made the best wine like that. He has control over the natural and the spiritual. Man needs a process, and man even needs the articles to make it. He needs a fruit, a grape, a potato. Jesus made it from straight water. So he's telling you, I know you're going to hate me, but if you hate me, you hate my Father. And then if I had not done these things among these works that no one else did, they would not be guilty of sin. You wouldn't be, because it had never been done. But now, as it is, you saw me. You saw it happen. Even if you don't want to acknowledge it, you saw it. So you know what? You'll be guilty. And even though you saw it, you still hated both me and my Father. I couldn't get your religious leaders to act right. I couldn't get your so-called keepers of the scribes. I couldn't even get some of the people who knew me to listen to me. But Jesus says, my Father knew this was going to happen, because that's what he tells you. But this is to fulfill what is written in the law. Uh-oh, my Father already told him it back in the day what was going to happen. They hated me without a reason. And they didn't have a reason to hate Christ. What reason could you hate love and compassion? What reason did you have? You had none. Because Christ came here and he did his thing. He worked. He was here. He was praying. He was healing. He was feeding. He was loving. He was patient. They did not love Christ because they didn't want to. There was nothing Christ did that would not make you love him. There's nothing Christ did to them except show them the truth. Amen.